All right, Nick, let's talk about Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs. As we knew throughout all of last season, they do things a little bit differently. They do it their own way. And this year, they're showing already that that has not changed one bit. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffs, they do things a little bit differently. And even after last season with, less than desirable results, I think it was better than the year before, but not where people thought that they would be. I think it shows they're not changing anything because they have a formula and they think it works. And it's things like this that help them get the players they want to have. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on SI.com. It says, Coach Deion Sanders and his Colorado football program have never been afraid to do things their own way. Although that's drawn the Buffaloes their fair share of criticism, particularly following last season's second half collapse that saw them finish the campaign 4-8, it doesn't seem as if Sanders and co. have any plans of changing how they run the ship. On Wednesday, Colorado was back at practice ahead of the 2024 season, and players could be seen rocking their practice jerseys, which feature their social media handles in place of their last names. This isn't a new look for the Buffaloes, who wore the similar practice attire during training camp last year. In August of 2023, then Colorado offensive coordinator Sean Lewis explained the team's decision to display their social media handles on their practice jerseys. He says, give these guys an opportunity to build their brand. I think it's an outstanding job by Deion to think outside of the box and offer that unique perspective and that vehicle so it's out there. It's for the guys and they're able to get that identity, said Lewis. Nick, I think this is a great move by Colorado, just showing that they're thinking outside the box. They're trying to entice players, letting them build a brand in this new NIL era. I think it's a really great strategy. I'm curious what your thoughts on this one are, but Buffs fans, in the comment section below, what do you think about Deion Sanders' grand plan? He does things a little bit different. I think that's why we all love him, but I'm curious what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think things like this are good? Do you think they're bad? Do you not really care as long as it garners the results? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest news about the Buffs?
So there's two parts here to unpack, and both of them are important. One is authenticity, right? If Coach Prime was changing who he is or who he was or his overall strategy, to me, that would be just a huge red flag, right? Because you are who you are. Whether you're an X's and O's coach, whether you're a disciplinarian coach, or you're what Coach Prime is, right? You have to be authentic. You have to be 100% true to yourself, true to your strategy, and have that trickle out through your entire program. And again, doing this, they did this before. I think they did it last training camp briefly as well. It just is 100% on brand. It makes sense. It's part of being the authentic Coach Prime leadership model that he's trying to impose across the entire organization. So being authentic and being true to yourself, that's incredibly important for a leader. And Coach Prime is sticking to that, which of course is very important. But here's the other side of it. We're talking about Colorado right now, right? That's really important for Coach Prime and recruiting this whole organization, because as much as it's sort of a cool story, like the flashiness of Coach Prime coming to Boulder, that was kind of so last year, right? Because it was new and shiny. Now that we're in year 2 and year 3, there's not as much buzz. It's a little quieter. It's a little under the radar. People aren't really talking about Colorado. People are talking about, the traditional blue bloods, Oklahomas, Texases, Michigans, Ohio States, so on and so forth. But here, what Coach Prime is doing, he's drawing attention to his program. And that's exactly what he is. He is an energy monster. And people, recruits, transfers, quality coaches, media, dollars, donors, they all flee to the energy. They all see, where's the buzz? Where's the excitement? And if no one's talking about your program, you are dying as a program. Now, most programs like people to talk about them because they're winning a lot of football games. But the reality is, that only goes on to traditionally like the top 10 or 12 programs in the country year in and year out. Everybody else is scrambling, right? The Colorado Buffs, Coach Prime, he understands innately so from his time in media, from his time as a player, that it's all about energy. You need people talking about your program. You need a buzz. You need it to be a headline on ESPN, SI.com, whatever. People looking at it on Twitter and social media saying, hey, look, here's Coach Prime in Colorado. They're doing something else again. Look at this, right? You need that energy, because that energy, that buzz, that leads to, like I said before, donors, dollars, boosters, NIL, recruits, transfer portal, all that stuff. It works in a massive feedback loop. That's why coaches spend so much time fundraising. That's why coaches do those kind of funky, kind of cringy social media videos sometimes for the recruits. They're trying to get energy. They're trying to get buzz. Coach Prime understands how to get energy and buzz better than anybody in college football. And I think this move is a really smart one to support that end.
Yeah, and again, I think you're exactly right. I mean, the point you bring up about, any publicity is good publicity if you're getting your name out there. When you're a donor and you're watching Sports Center and you never see the Buffs name come up for better or for worse, it's probably not going to entice you to want to keep giving this team money. But also, again, for better or for worse, if you can get your name up there doing things like this, doing all kinds of different stuff that Coach Prime does, I think, like you said, that is super important to get the donors to drive dollars to this team because, unfortunately, in this day and age in college football, you need dollars on your team to keep things moving in the right direction. You got to compete with these other teams in this NIL era to get the big players. I think this is really paramount for the Buffs. But as you allude to, Coach Prime is the master of doing this. He knows how to do it, any way that he needs to. Whether they're winning, whether people are talking about them, about big wins, about exciting performances, about things they're doing on the field, or if he needs to generate his own buzz off the field, this is the guy that you want at your program. So love him, hate him for how he does things. He knows what he is doing, and he's able to get Colorado in the media zeitgeist consistently. I think that's a skill not very many coaches have. So if I was a Colorado fan, I would be extremely excited that Coach Prime is my coach because he's able to keep you relevant even when you aren't doing good. I think that's a skill that I don't really know any other coach that has that skill. I think this is going to be big for Colorado in the long run.
Well, look to your point, right? You talk about, we're talking Colorado right now. We're talking about the Buffs. Let's go through the Big 12 right now. Who has heard anything about Arizona, Arizona State, Baylor, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, Utah, West Virginia? Has anyone heard anything about them? Are any of those schools still playing football? Right? You've heard nothing about them this entire offseason. You know who else has heard nothing about them? Recruits, transfer portals, quality donors, the media companies trying to get bigger deals, trying to figure out which teams to spotlight, right? That matters, right? It really, really does matter. And Colorado and Coach Prime, they understand innately they need energy, they need buzz, and they're going to find a way to do it however they can. And it's a double win when Coach Prime has a move like this that also is perfectly authentic in line with his brand and overall strategy. Again, people aren't talking about Coach Prime's intelligence enough. He's a very, very smart guy, very savvy individual, and this move is further proof of that.